Telegraph now, there's rumours of a coup. I think this is. I mean, I was kind of spooky. Is it sinister? Was it? You know, a lot of people sending around texts that were.
Yeah, it's a coup. This is from Christopher Hope in the Telegraph, and he said, "Remember that brutal WhatsApp message that set out a new Tory top team? Turns out it was right." So the other week he had that. 7 days ago, yeah, he had that message.
10 days ago, I think, because he said. 7 days ago, he said, over the course of the weekend, I was sent this text. So it may have been 8 or 9 days ago that he got the text, yeah.
OK, and it said Rishi PM, Hunt Chancellor, Penny Foreign Secretary, and it's a done deal. And he says a week later, we're nearly there. And that's exactly it. I mean, and then, of course, Suella talked about a coup, and now she's backing the coup because she's backed Sunak. I mean, it's all a bit strange. I mean, is it not a coup, Simon? Do you not agree with that?
Well, I mean, the word coup is one of those ones that I tend to, if people are using it, and I think in a cavalier fashion online or whatever, I always pick people up. So now I'm tempted to use it to describe something that I think has been disgraceful. I should be careful. But, yeah, it has some elements of an illegitimate or conspiratorial attempt to...
Well, it could be a coup... Or it could be this thing known as politics?
Yeah, it is part of politics, but it is at the coup end of that spectrum.
Well, this is what they do. They all combine... You know, they've all got their little WhatsApp groups. It's not the first time.
No, I mean, well, the complaint... To the extent that you would say it's a coup, a legitimate process was used in order to come to a conclusion about who should lead the party, and then an illegitimate... range of tactics we used to remove
this message that he sent isn't exactly like brain surgery. It was Rishi Sunak was obviously, in the lead to do it. They were going to keep. They're going to keep Hunt because they can't have a new chancellor. And the only thing is whether Penny becomes foreign secretary as arguably the second.
No, that wouldn't. That text message in itself wouldn't be evidence of a coup. What would be evidence of a coup to some extent is an extraordinary sequence of events, including the fact that, for instance, Sunak knew he wasn't going to win with the membership, but didn't seem to me to be that disappointed when he didn't win. I don't think they thought it was over at that point. I'm not saying it was all baked in, but there is a sense in which they knew there was going to be a third act.
It almost doesn't matter. He stabbed Boris in the back, as the members would see it. He got rid of Boris. He then lost the trust. They were like, whoops, we let it up to the members. What can we do this time? Not ask the members. And that's just not going to go well. Why should you stay in the Tory party as a member after that? After they've shown it doesn't mean anything. People have even said, I may have said on this show before, there was an anonymous Tory MP saying we should only let the members choose the leader when we're in opposition, when it doesn't matter. So all the cards are on the table. What's quite funny as well is that now immediately everyone's going... The media sort of like hates Boris, so it's like we want Sunak. Now that it's Sunak, everyone's going for him. And now it's interesting as well that the opposition, Nadia Whittome, of course you'd expect this from Labour, she's already sort of rescinded his Asian card. She said he's basically not Asian because he's rich. Don't fall for it. So
Satnam Singeri, I don't know if you know him, he's a journalist and writer who wrote the Empire Land, I think, a very successful book about the history of the British Empire from his, from an Asian perspective. And he said that Sunak is a demonstration of white privilege. Only because he's so obviously the most competent and well-qualified leader, but he still wasn't automatically... I mean, it's just extraordinary how people will...
Seeing people get into such a tiz about Rishi Sunak and certainly, trying to invalidate him somehow. Boris Johnson chose him as the Chancellor. He obviously has thought... He thought he had credentials, whether or not this whole backstabbing...
Well, it's what you said, exactly, which I think is perhaps... one of the 2 or 3 really key points. We know exactly how competent he is as a chancellor and as an economist, But there is a broader, there's the job of prime minister. It's a captain, scholar, athlete, sportsman. It's like head of school, isn't it? You don't just get there on brains alone. You have to have a certain X factor.
Yeah, Gordon Brown didn't have it, arguably.
No, exactly.
As brainy as he is.
We should give him props. It just shows that race is no barrier to staging a coup in this country. I think that's... Can you imagine Rishi, though, dealing with Putin? That's what I was thinking about. Can you imagine dealing with Putin? He's so small for a start. His wife earns more money. Putin would be like, tiny man, your wife make money, you stay home like woman. Do you know what I mean? That's how it's going to go down. Those are not my words, those are Putin's.
I tell you what would convince me that it was a coup, and I'm not saying I do think this happened, but if there were any connivance between any branch of the conspirators and any part of the Bank of England, for instance, if there were any sense in which the Bank of England kind of amplified the panic a little bit. And,
arguably, it's the free market. And, you said about him being quiet. It's that classic conspiracy thing. You look back afterwards, and it seems like it makes sense. Probably what he did was quite clever, which was just to keep his head down. He was probably actually quite hurt to not have won that election.
But you sound quite pro-Sunak. Is that just because you know Starmer will beat him?
No, it's because I hate terms like globalist coup. Which I find to be anti-Semitic.
Well, no one's.
You didn't say
it here, but I've heard people use it, and I do.
Anti-Semitic.
Can I give two answers on it?
Sorry, globalist coup is an anti-Semitic.
No,
Nazis literally use it.
Globalist is a perfectly legitimate phrase. As is WEF. There's all kinds.
I'm saying different people have different interpretations. I'm saying a lot of Jews hear that and they hear exactly the same rhetoric from Hitler.
I'm sorry, but there is no basis for
there is. It's called history.
Anyone who says that this is global, that these are a globalist wing of the Tory party.
Apart from the fact that the Nazis use exactly the same terminology.
The Nazis like dogs. You can't say that. I'm sorry.
Well, I did say it.
Rishi Sunak is not Jewish. Nobody in that wing of...
I get it,
a single high-ranking
Jew? Absolutely not. But when people were using it in reference to Grant Schnapp, who is Jewish, and the point is, it's the conspiracy isn't about Rishi Sunak, obviously you're not being Jewish, it's like him being in control of a globalist thing. I know you don't think, and I know that some people who say it don't think it, but there are people out there who take it to be that way.
And you cannot claim use or try and bar a word like globalisation because you find it anti-Semitic. It doesn't...
I think you could use other words.
There's two things on that. One, I think people are seeing it as a Remainer coup. I wasn't even thinking about globalist coup. It's like a Remainer that side of the party.
Then use Remainer coup.
And number two, we were just saying coup. And number two on that, my response to the globalist thing, I understand your point, is how can we talk about... The main schism in politics now is between nationalism and globalism. So if you rule out half of that equation, it's very hard. You'd have... What other word would... You'd have to have another word.
I would have thought it was between Labour and Tory.
No, on an international scale.
Yeah, I know, but...
that's exactly the point, that some people will now say there is no choice available at the next election because Starmer is very much offering a globalisation or a Remain friendly or essentially...
Well, again, Rishi voted for Brexit.
Anyway.